Welcome back to Rick Answers His Email. First up is Amy, who's having a problem running Skype, and she's running Windows Vista. She says it crashes every time she's trying to load it in either MSN, Explorer, or even Mozilla. It sounds like you're having trouble just downloading it, and I'm not sure where you're downloading it from. I'm hoping you're going to just Skype.com. If you're having problems downloading it, you may want to go to another computer, put it on a little flash drive or a CD, and bring it back and try to install it. Ralph has our first Windows 7 question, which is still in beta, but a Windows 7 question on networking, and he's having trouble printing from his laptop to a desktop that's running Vista. And he says he was previously able to do it with his Vista on his laptop. Ralph, what you're going to have to do is go back into the Windows 7 Networking and Sharing Center and set up what's called a home group. That's the new verbiage in Windows 7. And follow through the wizards there on how to share the information from your laptop, but also how to join your work group, which is the old language, in Windows Vista or Windows XP, and then you should be on your way. Jorge writes in and has a spyware toolbar he's trying to get rid of. And Jorge, probably the best thing to do is go to my website, helpmerick.com. In my security section on the lower right-hand side, I have a link to Combo Fix. Don't search for it on a search engine because you're likely to end up in a bad place, especially if you're already infected. In fact, you may even want to go to another computer, download Combo Fix, change the name of it, and then bring it back and install it and run it on your system. There is a great tutorial from bleepingcomputer.com, which is where the link takes you. Take the time to read it, maybe even print it out on the computer that you use it on, and combine that with an AVG antivirus scan afterwards and a Spybot search and destroy scan to make sure everything gets off your system. Elizabeth has a question about Service Pack 3 and wondering if it's safe to update. Depends on your system. There are some older systems, if you're only running 256 megs of RAM, Service Pack 3 is going to slow you down pretty significantly. If you have more than that, if you have at least 512 megs of RAM and your computer system is, say, newer than 2004, maybe even 2005, you'll probably be okay. As per what TBA means to be announced. So hope to see you at the next user group. Thanks. Diana, you kind of mixed and matched your RAM and your processors there, but if she only has 128 megs of RAM, I'm assuming that that computer's pretty old and it's going to be too expensive and not worth trying to upgrade. So if I'm reading your email right, I think that's what you're asking. Can I upgrade that computer? Probably not. Hi Bob, yeah, Wi-Fi West is new in the area. I've not tried their service personally. I don't have any clients that are using their service currently. It is significantly slower than the Quest DSL and significantly slower than the Bresnan cable. As far as its reliability, I don't know for sure. Again, I have not seen it. Actually, the best thing maybe to do is call Wi-Fi West and ask them if there's some customers you can contact to get some first-hand feedback from them. Ernie's writing in about a story I wrote last week about being careful of opening attachments, even from people that are in your address book. One of the biggest scams is for hackers to send email spoofing a friend or family member's address and then therefore tricking you into opening it and infecting your system. He's wondering if, even though it's scanned by your antivirus, is that enough? That's a good start, but oftentimes the email itself isn't infected, but there's a link inside of it saying that they received either or usually a link to a website to see a picture or a greeting card, and if it looks fishy, it probably is fishy, and I'd leave it alone. Ann wrote to me about 5 days ago, it looks like, and is wondering if something was going on. And I don't know. I don't have the exact, you don't have any more information than that. We have had some cable problems here locally with our cable provider and their internet access over the last couple weeks. Maybe that's what she's referring to. John's writing in and has some problems with some upgrading. He went from 6 to 7 and then right away to 8. So you made a lot of big leaps in there. If I were you, I'd stay with 7 at least for a while until you know that it's working properly. Give 8 a couple more months to kind of mature out there in the wild, as they say, and maybe try it again once, maybe say, the holidays roll around. Walt wants to know how to share music and PowerPoint slideshows with others. Walt, probably the easiest thing to do is go into your PowerPoint presentation, go to Save As, and save it as a PowerPoint show. And then that bundles everything up together into one file that you can then share with your friends and family. Tracy has a new flip camera. That's one of those little small portable video cameras, and she has no problem uploading the videos into her Mac. And Tracy, they're way too big for email for sure, so don't even try to email them. But depending on the blog software you're using, but you should be able to upload your video to your website and then use whatever techniques that your particular blogging software uses to embed it into the web page. Here's Amy. She wrote the same question again about Skype, and then this time she worded it differently. Said she's attempting to use it, but Skype is being shut down and crashes Windows every time she tries to load it. And she's wondering if there's any patches that are out there. Again, if you're downloading the newest version of Skype from their website, Amy, that's going to have all the current patches rolled into it. If you're having problems running it, I would suggest uninstalling it totally. Uninstall it, go to Add and Remove Programs, take it out, restart your computer, download a fresh copy, and try it again. If you're still having problems at that point, it could be a firewall, it could be some other security software on your system. Hard to tell. But without looking at that particular kind of system and how it's reacting, those would be the first places to try. Steve has a Macintosh and wants to learn how to make a DVD without the little menu that shows up when you first put a DVD into a DVD player. Steve, there's quite a few steps to do that, so instead of tell you in this little short video, I want you to go to this website. It's a tiny URL that will take you to a forum that has the exact directions on how to create a DVD with iDVD without the menu. Tim has a question about a new laptop that he bought from Walmart. He says it's cheap and it's very slow with Windows Vista, which is not surprising. But he does have an upgrade license to Windows 7, and he's wondering what should he do. Well, number one, Tim, probably if it's a real cheapie, I would upgrade the RAM. You might only have 1 or 2 gigs of RAM. I would try to upgrade that to 3 or 4 gigabytes of RAM if it'll take it. And then I would suffer until Windows 7 comes out. Windows 7 is a little bit less power hungry than Windows Vista is, and it should run a little bit better. But I don't think I'd go backwards to XP. Chances are of you finding all the necessary drivers for that laptop will be extremely difficult. So I'd hold off, get some more RAM, and wait for Windows 7. That's it for this week. Thanks for listening to Rick Answers His Email. I'll be back again next week with more of your questions.